Numa, Swamp of the Dead. World at War's third entry in its iconic survival horde mode. Numa is set in a swamp overrun by the undead, where you must find the perks, get weapons, and survive. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, YouTube tells me that 83% of you watching are not subscribed. We both know you can change that with one click. Alright, it's not rocket science. So why not go ahead and do that real quick, and while you're at it, why don't you give that like button a bit of a love tap for me. And with that said, let's get into it. Numa is the first map not to feature Nazi zombies, but instead Imperial Japanese brain suckers. But they're not the only thing different about this map. Numa also introduced the Hellhounds as an enemy type, showing up every 5-ish rounds or so. At the end of each round, the last kill will grant the players with the max ammo, which comes in clutch since now players can anticipate when the next time they'll get a refill. Now, you may have noticed the hanging man in the spawn room. Who is he? Why, that's our man Peter McCain. As you can see, he didn't fare well after escaping from the asylum, missing an arm which is actually still on the power switch back in Verrucht. After evacuating a plane, he hitched a ride flying over the Rising Sun facility with experimental weaponry in hand that he stole from Group 935. He makes his jump and deploys his chute, but it seems that the very thing that was preventing him from falling to his death has tangled up and strangled him, leaving him a limp, lifeless corpse. We are now officially a lore channel. Wait a minute. Experimental weaponry? Also with Numa, it introduced the first major wonder weapon that's able to kill indefinitely. The Wunderwaffe DG2, designed by Edward Richtofen during his time at Group 935 and their Weapon Development Division. Made using Element 115, it uses 3 rechargeable vacuum tubes that fires bolts of electricity that chain at most 10 nearby targets, blasting them full at 200,000 amps, popping heads like popcorn. It holds 3 shots in the weapon and 15 in reserve, giving you a total of 18 shots total. Doing the math, that comes out to about 180 kills with just the ammo that it gives you. That's 7.5 World at War rounds. And with dogs coming every 5-ish rounds or so, it's pretty hard to run out of ammo with this thing. In World at War. Whoa, let's backpedal for a second. Who is Edward Richtofen? What the fuck is a DG2? And isn't Element 115 Moscovium? Okay, well I'll answer that in reverse order real quick, alright? Just calm down a little bit, alright? Element 115, or Divinium in this universe, was discovered before modern 115, Moscovium. The idea of Element 115 being used as an elusive power source comes from the conspiracy theory that the spacecraft that crashed in Roswell was powered by Element 115, made popular by Bob Lazar, which is facilitated by a radio on the map giving out the exact coordinates of Area 51.
R-4808N 37 14 06 115 48 40.
At this time in development, they love to introduce conspiracy theories to add to the zombies lore, which is where DG2 comes in, meaning Die Glock. Die Glocke? Die Glock. Okay, we're gonna go with Die Glock. Translation? The Bell. Was another conspiracy where Germany in World War II was looking for any advantage they can get, so they started a secret weapons program, or Wunderwaffe division, where things like the STG-44 and even the V-2 rocket, the first practical ballistic missile, which in turn led to the development of Die Glock, being described as a glowing rotating contraption with some kind of anti-gravity effect or something along that. Powered by a highly radioactive substance, a deep red and shiny like metal, but flows like liquid. They would call this substance Zurum-525. In real history, there's never really been a face to lay claim to the creation of Die Glock, and that's where Edward Richtofen comes in. In 1936, Richtofen joins Group 935, the fictional counterpart to the Wunderwaffe division, and most of Germany's scientific breakthroughs within the zombies lore. Richtofen spent most of his time studying Element 115, where he developed a good manner of things, including the finalized version of the Wunderwaffe DG2. What does he look like? Well, he is one of the playable 4 characters on Numa, so in co-op just look for the player that's green. Speaking of playable characters, instead of the Marines like we got in Nacht and Verrückt, you play as the Ultimus crew. Those being Tank Dempsey, Takia Masaki, Nikolai Belinsky, and Edward Richtofen. What are they doing here? Well, they're here for Richtofen's diary. Yeah. During Richtofen's time here, researching the crashed meteorite just by the storage hut, he wrote down most of his findings in his diary. When the facility was overrun in a hurry, he left his research notes back at his quarters. Doesn't seem like a good use of his time. Well, with that out of the way, I want to get into the map layout. Numa differs by straying away from the linear map design from Verrückt and goes in a more open concept. From the starting hut of the map, it branches into 4 different directions. You got the storage hut, which greets you with a 3-way split path through the mud. Taking the rightmost, you'll see the crashed meteorite as mentioned before. All 3 lead to the storage hut at the end of the day. The comms room. Opening the doors starts you with another fork in the road. The left path being raised on a platform while the right side is mostly swamp water. Yuck. From there you can make it to the comms room where you can find a phone, interacting with it 3 times.
What? Are they gonna put a music Easter egg in every map now?
The fishing hut. The path is very similar to the comms room, just shorter. Mud on the right, no mud on the left. Pretty simple. And the path to the doctor's quarters is an open swamp bog with 2 islands smack dab in the middle. It also has a zip line making traversing the bog painless. Instead of trudging through the mud, you can just daintily ride the gondola to the doctor's quarters. When you open the hut, you'll be greeted with a perk at random, making every game of Numa different. Speaking of things that are different, let's get into the version differences, shall we? Black Ops brought the addition of Mule Kick in the spawn room. That's pretty much it. Not much to say for Black Ops. Yup. Moving on. With Black Ops 3, they swapped Mule Kick around with Quick Revive, so instead you can get your solo revives from get-go, and Mule Kick is added into the random perk pool. Although they forgot to take Quick Revive out of the visual effect of the perk spawning, but that's okay. And they also added Gumballs and Wonder Fizz to add the remaining perks from Black Ops 3. And that's all I have on Numa. I had fun making this video. It let me squeeze out some of my passion for zombies. Doing the research for this video, I found out some really cool things that just fueled my want to make this video more. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.